Dylan, I wanted to ask you, there's some hand-to-hand combat here, which is pretty fun to see. How's that experience of just getting used to the fight choreography and really getting to get physical during Aftermath?
Funny enough, like hand-to-hand combat. So this is the Aftermath was the third action movie that I have done in my life. The first one I did this one called Turando in China for 6 months, and that was so much hand-to-hand. And it was a lot of Wing Chun, and it was a lot of it was a lot of obviously choreography made for particularly for movies. And then I did Beautiful Disaster and then Aftermath, right? So the hand-to-hand stuff was actually what I was most comfortable with. What I was learning kind of fresh was certainly the all of the kind of gunplay during this movie. I had not done a lot of that. And I've known how to fire. I've been to firing ranges when I was younger, but that was definitely a new experience for me. I will say though that the hand-to-hand combat scenes were my favorite, particularly because I was doing almost entirety of it with Mason. And while we were doing that, I have this distinct memory where we both looked at each other and we were working it out and we are like, we should do this faster, right? Because I would look way slicker. Nathan was like, yeah, let's try it faster. And we kept messing it up and we're like, all right, but now that we got that, let's do it even a little faster. So it
Yeah.
looks like really, really intense. And then so we just kept going faster and faster until the director told us, Patrick, he goes, hey guys, it's actually too fast for,
Right.
you're not really registering what we're doing. We're like, sorry, we're so good at this.
Allegedly, it looked like a Dragon Ball fight scene where we were
which,
teleporting all over the place. It was very great.
which
Well,
I'm pretty sure is what we wanted. So
right. That's what we were going for. It's also worth mentioning, not to blow smoke up our own asses, but they had, there's a lot going on that set. It's a very involved action film. So you have to imagine they have to make sacrifices as far as timing for rehearsals in certain aspects or another. By the time we got to the choreography scene where we had to talk about the fight scene, we realized we hadn't ran through it even once. And it was a 15-minute window to watch the stunt performers put it together. Then we had lunch, which was about 45 minutes. And then we had to shoot the damn thing. So in the 15 minutes while we're watching, I learned from Dylan a methodology which is probably most easily related to like muscle memory. Dylan does this thing where he stands. I don't know if you do this all the time, but in this case he did. He stood just off to the stunt rehearsal and performers who were going through the movements, and Dylan would embody the movements in real time as he was learning them. I come from a football background, so I would just watch and try to like learn the movements visually, which didn't help a ton. But lo and behold, we got it eventually. It just took a little lunch break, and we hopped right back into it, and it ended up being what you saw in the movie.
it is my favorite action scene of that movie for sure. It is my
Yeah,
favorite.
that's crazy that it all came together so late because it's a real highlight of the film and a lot of fun to watch. And Mason, one aspect that really impressed me in this film was like how menacing you are in this. You're so likable in everything else and in
Oh,
interviews. So I was surprised you had that in you. How was it like tapping into that villain side for you?
it's there's an easy answer and then there's a tough answer. The tough answer I would say is because Dylan creates such a comfortable environment on set. I came in a little later. They had already been shooting some by the time I got there. I knew him prior to. I love this genre so much. So I had an inkling for what it would feel like to be a more villainous character. But it wasn't until talking to Dylan and kind of seeing how he operates on set in that setting that it allowed me the freedom and willingness and comfortability to take the backyard villain I had always played with my brother in elementary school and just transfix it onto my adult physique and sensibilities. The easy answer is, dude, I just love John Bernthal and The Rock, and a lot of the stuff
Don't
he
we all?
does. You know what this is not something I should admit, but there's a scene where in Walking Dead, every time John Bernthal like leans down in that movie, he goes like this, he pulls his pants up. And
Yeah.
I just did that every single time I had to move. I just pull my pants like that, and it seems very menacing. So I owe that to John Bernthal because I absolutely stole that from him.
I love that. That's a great inspiration. He's incredible in that show. And Dylan, I like that your character here is more than just, a generic action hero. He has the PTSD element going on, and there's a very human side to the character with him wanting to save his sister. Oh, as an actor, what did you really dig into for the character side here rather than, the action that we've talked about?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting line to walk between, trying to give credence and truth to what that actually looks like, the struggle of PTSD, and also making an action movie. I didn't want that to seem silly. I didn't want it to seem cliche. So I definitely wanted to make sure that that was properly represented. And I was really thankful to have, we were surrounded by former active military on set, and a handful of veterans there that I asked a wealth of questions, as well as a former active medic who was serving, and that was really helpful. She was really helpful to me because I asked about, obviously, facial expression, and I asked about the hyperventilation aspect of it, and some things in that regard that I really wanted to make look real, but also at the same time try to represent PTSD as the process of healing rather than it being the thing. Because I see this happen a lot in films and TV where like the character who was formerly serving is almost summed up by the fact that they have PTSD, right? Where they're like, this is the character and he has PTSD. Whereas that's not explaining that it's the journey through PTSD to get you to either the end of it, which is healing, hopefully, and trying to work through it. And so that was a relief by merit of the script as well. It was a relief to know that like we got to see a little bit of an arc through
Yeah.
his journey there, trying to help himself through it, as well as his family and friends that he made in the movie try to help him through it. And then we have a kind of very clear juxtaposition with Mason and his character, who I think he embodied it remarkably well, which is another side of the trauma associated, and how he's dealing with that in his own personal way. And so it was nice to see that it wasn't being done in a way that was a finality.
All right.
Yeah, that's really wonderfully put. Thank you guys so much for your time today, and congrats on Aftermath. I'm really excited to see you guys in Under Fire as well. It's cool that you guys teamed up again. So,
That's right.
congrats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it on my contract that I have to at least be considered in all of Dylan's projects.
I have it in my contract that you're first to be considered. So
that's it, dude. That's so progressive of
Hey,
you.
that's good work if you can get it. Thanks, guys.